Hey y'all, it's Liz from Northern Bell Farms. I'm getting ready to make some cowboy candy. I know there's tons of videos on this,
I'll eat cowboy candy.
but I figured I'd make a video because why not? And I'll show you how I do it. I'm just doing a fridge pickle one because they don't stay around for long anyways, and I plan on selling half of them at the farm stand. So we'll only keep 4 jars or so. I like to eat it on vanilla ice cream, or take like celery and put cream cheese on the celery and then put some cowboy candy on top of that. You could stuff it inside a jalapeno, so you could have like a spicy and sweet jalapeno popper type deal with bacon. Let's say hey to Odin. Hey Odin. We have some onions over there in the dehydrator that I have been last week when we were weeding the raised beds. There were some onions in one of the beds and it was just too hard to pull around them, so we ended up pulling them up, and they should be almost ready, but they were still smaller than they should have been. So they were like a little bit bigger than a golf ball, I'd say, but smaller than a tennis ball. So I'm making onion powder. If you've seen the pepper powder video, I do it the same way. I dehydrate the onions, and then with this, since they are so fresh, I pulled them and then I left them outside in the sun drying for 5 days or so, 4 or 5 days, just so that they got the paper skin part on the outside. And then I brought them in and I cut them up, put them in the dehydrator, and put them in the coffee grinder. I put some salt in there because if you don't, it'll like pack into the sides. I don't know if it's just here, if you can see my face, it's humid. So the moisture in the air will turn this back into like, see how it doesn't really tip? Oh, well, it still does a little bit. See? The moisture in the air is going to really mess this up and make it all clumpy. But if you put salt in it, it'll help it. So when I put the salt in the coffee grinder, it kind of like ground it in with this, so it should help keep it from clumping. But if you do get one of these, or you do make your own, I suggest salt, or if it does start to clump, I would put a little more salt in it and then shake it. But we are going to make cowboy candy. So, first thing I do when dealing with hot peppers is I bought these gloves. So that way, because when I did the pepper powder with the paprika peppers, we're going to have to make more. There's a whole bunch over here. When I did the powder with these peppers, I ended up using my bare hands because I didn't know that paprika was so spicy. Well, my hands burned for like 24 hours. My cuticles, my skin, all of it, it just burned. And nursing the baby, I really don't want to accidentally get anything on him or touch him with it, so I am going to wear these gloves and use the gloves. You can, this is a triple recipe. I'll put up the original recipe here. But this is almost 3 pounds of jalapenos that I'm doing right now, so I'm going to triple that recipe that you just seen. You can put them into a food processor if you want it to be faster. I just like the way they look in medallion slices, you know, like this. So I'm going to cut all these up, and then I will get back to you.
Pick on pile. can going?
Yep.
Max?
Yep.
Okay.
So here's all the jalapenos cut up. Now remember, this is 3 times the amount of the original recipe. So everything I do is going to be times 3. So we're going to take a bowl so we can measure it out. And we got 2 cups of sugar and 3 cups of apple cider vinegar. So times 3. So that makes 9 cups of apple cider vinegar. 2. It's not juice, honey. It's vinegar. You'd be really sorry if you thought it was juice. 4 cups. 6. And 1 more. And then we need 2 cups of sugar times 3. We're just going to use the rest of that because I'm not putting back 2 splashes. It's not even a 1/4 cup. 6 cups of sugar. So humid here that our sugar turns to cubes in the jar. Two. I'm not tired. I did just wake up. 3. 4. 6. Last year I did try to make pickles of some sort with a sugar substitute. It didn't really work. Actually, it turned like rotten in the jar. So when stuff asks for sugar, you really got to use sugar. So now we're going to put this in with the apple cider vinegar and stir it up until it reaches a boil. And then we're going to turn it down and add the jalapeno slices that we've made, or if you chopped it in your food processor. And then we will we'll bring it back to a boil. Oh, and when you add your jalapeno pieces, you might want to stand back and not inhale the fumes into your nose, or it'll be burning and itching. So I'm going to put all of this into the liquid and stir it up to dissolve it. Breakfast time for the ducks. You hear them out there. Okay, now we're going to have this reach a boil. Then we add these. And I'm going to find some mason jars to put this in, or some kind of jars. We are boiling. Now, You don't want to have your head right over the pot when you pour these in, because not only is the vinegar opening up your nostrils right now as it's boiling, the seeds and all this pith hitting the hot will make like a peppery, hot smell for your nose. So we want to put all of these in and mix it up, and then we want to return it to a boil. Ooh, yeah, that's starting to heat up. I can feel my nostrils opening up more. So once this goes back to a boil, we're going to turn it down. I have it all the way up right now so that it'll boil faster. But after it boils, we're going to turn the heat down to a simmer, and we're going to cook them until they lose their bright flavor and they turn like the color of pickles in a jar, so that we can infuse the flavor and the liquids and make these 3 ingredients be more like one. Okay, so I left the jars inside of the case, so if I make a mess, it's in there, and I can just take the jar out and throw the box away. That way there's less cleanup, because I make messes. So I put my pot over here of my jalapenos. I'm going to scoop, let it drip a little, and then I'm gonna try and put it in these jars. Ha! Like that. Still spicy in my nose. It's gonna be good. If you taste it like that, it's still gonna taste spicy. It's not gonna taste very sweet, because the sweetness is dissolved into the liquid. So after these go in jars, you could eat it right away, but it's gonna be a lot better if you wait a week or two. Since this is a fridge one, I wouldn't wait any longer, because once you open it, or from the time that I'm going to write on the bottom in 2 weeks, you really only got like a month of them in the fridge. Maybe 6 weeks. If I can them, they could last forever. You know, a year is what they say, but really forever. Last time I canned jalapenos, I did pickled jalapenos, and we didn't end up eating them. And I think they lasted for like 4 years before they got bad. But I put them in jars that were too big. I put them in like 12-ounce jars. And that made it too much in the jar. Like when I opened it, we wouldn't end up using it, and it would sit in the fridge open for a year. And then I'd be like, oh, well, I don't want to eat this. Okay, this is a triple batch. What are these? 10-ounce jars. So it looks like I'm going to have 5 10-ounce jars out of a triple batch. So Basically, a single batch would probably be one 12-ounce jar. Maybe a little bit more, but you could probably pack it in one 12-ounce jar. My fingers are sticky, so I can tell this is going to be really good when it's ready. I can't wait. I'm definitely going to put some on top of vanilla ice cream. You could use it in like a ham and cheese sandwich. You could also use it. I want to try like a carrot cake cupcake with a cream cheese frosting. I think it would be good like right on top of that. But you could do, I think, on top of any kind of cream cheese frosting, and savory cake would be pretty good. Or like a zucchini bread. You could put it in cornbread. That'd be really good. Or on top of cornbread. Put it in sweet potatoes, mashed potatoes. Really, you can use it in anything. They're delicious. Okay, so triple batch, 5 10-ounce jars. I'm going to pour the liquid into this bowl because it has this pour spout. So hopefully I'll make less of a mess than if I just try to pour this directly into those jars. So, watch me make a huge mess. Oh, this is real sticky. Heavy on my wrist. I'm going to try and not make a mess and pour this into these jars just to cover it. And it's going all over me. I feel like no matter what I do, it's gonna be a mess because that's just my life. Maybe a funnel, but I don't think that's gonna help either. I think I'm having issues. Okay, funnel. Let's get the biggest funnel we got. Funnel. Now everything's sticky. I guess that was better. And I guess I shouldn't have filled that one up all the way. Move all of this out of the way. Now I'm going to leave these out on the counter for probably at least an hour, maybe 2 hours, to let them cool before I stick them in the fridge. You could use this leftover liquid too in like a simple syrup, as if you want to make like mixed drinks, or any recipe that calls for a simple syrup. So that's basically what this is. And I think I am going to reuse mine because I have this many jalapenos left. I was waiting to see if more of them turned colors because I have the lemon spice jalapenos, the orange and the dark orange. Oh, pumpkin spice and the dark orange. Now, the names are just for the colors. It doesn't actually taste any different. And then if you let a jalapeno ripen past its green part, it's red. So I was really hoping to have some red and yellow and orange in the jars, kind of like this one. because I think it looks really pretty like that. And then now this you can break out at a party and have some wine and cheese and crackers and put that on top, and I bet it would be delicious. But I'm going to probably put this back in the pot and then, or put this in one of these size mason jars and put it in the fridge until I do put the rest of the jalapenos into the jars like this, and then I'll just reheat this and return it to a boil and use this liquid or what I got left, because it seemed like I barely used any of the actual liquid in the jars, because I packed the jalapenos in there first. I'm sure if I had just poured it into jars it would have gone further, but then you're not actually going to have anything in the jar. See? Like, except for like some jelly water jalapeno flavor. But so that is the recipe. That's what I'm doing. So today we're gonna finish up the toy chicken pen, hopefully. Then move all the little chickies out to their designated areas. See how I want them separated. See, save this. And then I have my mailboxes that I gotta show you what we're gonna do with them. I probably need to get a third mailbox, but we'll put up the two and I'll show you that. Chris is making a instant water out of a 5-gallon bucket and a hose and some floats things like you in the back of the toilet. You know, when you flush and the water comes in and the float comes up and tells it when to stop running. Same idea. We're putting it in a 5-gallon bucket so that way the chickens always have fresh water, because I have to go out there 3 times a day and I often find them dry. But 3 times a day we have 4 2-liter waters in the, or whatever the regular big chicken water is. I think it's not 2 liters. It's something else. I don't know. It's the big chicken waters, and I fill it up 3 times a day and often find them completely empty. So, and I'd like them to not run out. We were trying to figure out what kind of water we should make, and we just decided on the 5-gallon bucket with a float. We're also going to figure out how to do an automatic feeder. Same thing, that way they don't get so anxious when it's feeding time and like pile into a corner trying to get to the food. I just need to figure out how to make it all come down and come in and not like get bunched up at the top and not go to the bottom. And flame weed the garden, and I think that's it for this weekend. There's some other things we need to do, but that we're not going to get to all of that. We probably won't get to all of that this weekend. So I'm going to go get to that, probably make some more videos on those things, and also I got to make more of this later. So, well, I hope everyone has a good day, and don't conform, people, be transformed.